Oh, the craziness, ladies and gentlemen. It is really, really crazy here at the moment, isn't it? So, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Sizzling Sunday. This is not Beetlejuice, this is Mel. Just putting it out there. Reason and purpose for everything. Ladies and gentlemen, what some crazy times we live in. What's even more exciting is that we have some very interesting news for you. That's why I say, not everything is what it seems to be. People can wear a mask. People can do all sorts of crazy things, can't they? So just for shits and giggles today, because it is Sizzling Sunday, and we've had a couple of very serious shows to do, we thought we would do something a little different. We're going to talk about frequency in medicine, leading into, of course, our show with MedBed Monday. We've got seminars coming up for all of you. It is going to be very, very, very exciting. So let's talk a little bit about, perhaps, let's start with the pause. DJT, of course, made the moves and signed the executive orders many years ago, so that the government was put on pause. We've had many pauses, haven't we, during this period? They ran a multi-layered psyop for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons, ladies and gentlemen. This allowed for the American people to see what they were up to against, and in turn weaponised the people. This is all about your awakening, ladies and gentlemen. Things are not what they seem to be. While saving the children and revamping the financial system, they derooted the corruption in every form globally. What an event it has been. This is global, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Mayhem with Mel. I'm not Beetlejuice, I'm not acting today. In 2010, of course, we saw the illustrious Obama. He paused the Dodd-Frank Wall Street reform. You have to ask these questions because history repeats itself. The Consumer Protection Act was also paused in 2010. It's been quite a few years. But in this law, they clearly outlined the failing financial institutions, aka your bank, your bail-ins, to your deposits to make themselves whole if their failure represents a systematic threat to the system. There was many pauses, ladies and gentlemen. In Iraq, of course, over the course of the time, is that the Iraqi minister announced the resumption of parliamentary meetings for Iraqi's ascension to the World Trade Organization. That was a 16-year pause. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to my notes for today, for the next couple of days, because we will be back tomorrow, so I don't have to do everything as we normally do. And I just realised I've got my other book. Can you grab my other blue book from over there, please, darling? Thank you. So we're sitting out here today and we're talking about a lot of things about cryptocurrencies and things like that. Yesterday, of course, I released regarding the Australian Taxation Office and how that the Space Force or the Joint Chief of Staff is actually in control. Well, let me give you a little bit of history because, as I said, this is going to be a very historical day, Sunday. The Delta Force was first created and established in 1954, and in 1961 it became very corrupt and very compromised. The US Air Force and the Space Command in 1982 was then activated, of course, with satellite technology. When DJT came into office, and by 2019 he completely cleaned it out and destroyed it. He destroyed it to the core. He still kept them going. But what had happened was, in between all of this time, 1983, we actually saw the Guardians. They were adopted. They were the protectors now of our children. In 1991, of course, was Operation Desert Storm, which decimated Iraq. What does NDA stand for, ladies and gentlemen? We've been talking a lot today about NDAs. NDA stands for National Defence Authorisation. Think about that for one moment. A National Defence Authorisation. It's reclassifying, of course, the US Air Force Space Command, which was your 6th US military branch. In 2020, of course, the first space rocket was launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida. Space Force was welcomed its first Academy graduates, all 86 of them. Partnered with the NASA, and which means when they say they have partnered, ladies and gentlemen, it means that they have control of NASA. And they collaborated, of course, with the Space Force, which takes over SATCOM missions in 2021. The Army and the Navy transferred their satellite funding and responsibilities over to Space Force. In 2002 was the final Delta IV heavy launch. This was the second chief of the Space Force assigned. In 2023, of course, the SpaceX rocket in partnership with the USSF. Oh, that's the Falcon. We touched on that, so if you haven't seen our shows, this one is a little different, then you need to go back and have a listen to what I said about Falcon and Falcon 9. Very interesting times, isn't it? We also need to talk about, of course, with the illustrious farm claims are being paid out, and they have been being paid out for quite some time. The US farm claims were received, they all received $2 billion over 43,000 individuals received up to 500,000. So when all of these gurus come out and they say things like this, it really frustrates me to the hill, hence why I'm dressed a little differently today. 43,000 individuals have already received $500,000 in farm claims. Jassara, ladies and gentlemen, will be released over a period of time, and it has been. A further $2.2 billion has been authorised for the farmers' claim for inflation, and the reduction of their loans is $3.1 billion. These are facts, ladies and gentlemen. Factual. I also will be releasing, as I said, the Monday Medbeds story. And it's interesting how a few people come out about the Medbeds all of a sudden, but Mel already knew. I'm going to bring up and talk about, of course, the Canberra Hospital here in Australia. This Canberra Hospital was revamped and recalled a wellbeing campus centre, healing and uniting healthcare and community. As I said yesterday, when we start talking about Australian communities and your community, very, very important. They have a different status quo that they have set up. I am so looking forward, ladies and gentlemen, for delivering that one to you tomorrow. We touched on yesterday, of course, although we were focused on Australia, we did talk about the Starlink and the Tesla towers. Well, Tesla also launched the Powerwall 3 here in Australia and New Zealand. It is a brand new home battery system released in September this year. I have seen it here in Western Australia in a suburb called Rockingham as well. And so you certainly need to be looking in your area and looking for Teslas and Tesla generators and things like that, as I said yesterday. SpaceX replenished its first generation Starlink satellites with the second generation, which means we've gone full circle. Second generation technology is there to help boost broadband quality and give you free Wi-Fi. It is coming, ladies and gentlemen. It is a transition, as in this is a transition. My hair today is a transition. Do not be fooled by what you see, what you hear. Everything and nothing is what it seems to be. So a little bit of a side fun note, of course, today is, what date is it today? The 20th? 24th today. Wow. A lot has happened in the last couple of days. The 24th of November. We had high expectations around the 22nd of the 11th, but nothing really happened. And of course it was extremely quiet. Everyone's gone quiet because everyone's frustrated. I'm going to share a little poem at the end, which is very, very significant and very, very important. But I do want to point out this is a military operation, ladies and gentlemen. And according to my Julian calendar, the 5th of December, which Mel has mentioned previously, the 5th of December, what are we looking at? We're looking at Protocol 22. This is the bridging of Bitcoin going over to the Stellar network. Very, very important. It means that governments across the world most likely will dissolve because they don't have the power or the finances or the money to operate. December the 5th. Protocol 22. So in the Julian calendar, it is 22nd of November, ladies and gentlemen. We are in military time. Remember that. The military work in Julian calendar. So the assassination of the old system will commence on the 5th of December. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what I know. We also look, of course, as we have stated about XDC, that is a very, I tell you, not financial advice, but you may like to have a look at XDC and Hedera. The corporation, of course, here in Australia, our illustrious Caroline Kennedy. A Kennedy comes out and states here in Australia about our freedoms and being part of the Pacific Oceania. We will dive into that one another day. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, America is heading into bankruptcy. Of course, China is talking about their Hell's March, marching hell across the world. Of course, the Maldives. Mel talks about the Maldives because Mel's going to be diving in tomorrow, of course, with Medbeds Monday. The Maldives say it will arrest the Big Ben of Israel. Netanyahu. Maldives. Interesting. I'm very excited about Maldives, I should say. Russia, the UN ambassador, the United Nations ambassador of Russia, is also slamming the illustrious UK for escalating the war in Ukraine. What's UK been doing escalating the Ukraine war? This will be the dissolving, ladies and gentlemen, of the NATO. Watch Turkey as well, because we've mentioned Turkey's going to India and Thanksgiving coming up as well. Meetings, of course, with the RV side of things. Sit back, relax, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, I am doing this strategically. Monday, we have Medbeds Monday. We also have the meetings in Iraq. They will occur over Monday, Tuesday for the voting on all their key laws, including their exchange rate laws. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen, because on Tuesday I will be releasing more about the redemption process and everything else related to the RV on that side. There's a reason for everything, ladies and gentlemen. It is good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Just so you know, it is actually me, and it's very hot here today. It's about 40 degrees, so I'm sweating underneath Beetlejuice. But ladies and gentlemen, it is me. This is real. This is Just Mayhem for Mel. Thank you very much to all of our moderators. Before I forget, I am going to give you a beautiful, beautiful couple of verses to end the show that are so relevant. It is incredible. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. And it's funny thing how day by day nothing changes, but when we look back, everything is different. And one day I understood that it is no one's job but mine to take care of myself and make myself happy, ladies and gentlemen. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Get real with yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It is a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. We'll see you all on the flip side. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye for now.